It was New Year's Eve, and I was on my way home from a friend's house when it happened. Nothing wild, a few drinks, people talking over each other, music on but not loud. I'd stayed longer than I planned, and by the time I left it was already after midnight. The countdown had happened while I was there. Everyone did the whole thing, shouting numbers at the TV, hugging, laughing, then drifting back into smaller conversation, like the night wasn't actually over yet. I said my goodbyes and headed out. The roads were busy, but not chaotic. Cars everywhere, people driving carefully, probably more than usual. I remember thinking it was one of those few nights where everyone seemed weirdly aware of each other. About 5 minutes into the drive, I noticed a car behind me that didn't feel aggressive, but also didn't feel accidental. It was tailgating. It wasn't flashing lights, it was just consistently there. I didn't think much of it at first. It was New Year's, lots of people going the same way, heading home. I stopped at a red light. It stopped behind me. Lights turned green. It went, and I went. I changed lanes. It stayed behind me. Again, none of that means anything on its own. I wasn't nervous yet, just aware. When I turned off the main road and into my neighbourhood, I expected the car to keep going. It didn't. It followed me in. That was when I really noticed it. My neighbourhood loops around. There are a few ways in, but once you're inside, you're either visiting someone or you live there. It's not a shortcut. I drove past my street on purpose, turned down a side road instead. The car followed. I slowed slightly, pretending I was unsure where I was going. The car slowed too. At that point, my chest tightened in a way that felt familiar but not unwelcome. I kept driving. I didn't want whoever it was to see where I lived. I looped around the block, then again, hoping they'd get bored or peel off. They didn't. Eventually, I turned onto a street with more parked cars and pulled over like I was checking my phone. The car passed me. I watched it go by in my side mirror. Dark sedan, no visible markings, windows tinted enough that I couldn't see inside. It drove another 20 yards, then stopped. Reverse lights came on. It backed up slowly, stopped a few car lengths behind me. That's when I stopped pretending this was a coincidence. I pulled back out and drove away immediately. This time, I didn't slow down. I drove straight towards the main road again. I told myself if it followed me back out, I'd go somewhere public. It followed. I called 911. I told the operator I thought I was being followed. She asked for my location and told me to stay on the line, asked me not to go home. She told me to drive to the nearest well-lit area or police station. I drove towards a gas station that was still open. As I pulled into the lot, the car slowed but didn't follow me in. It drove past. I sat there shaking, watching the road. The operator stayed on the line while a patrol unit was dispatched. A police car arrived a few minutes later. I explained everything, the looping, the stopping and the reversing. They took it seriously enough to drive around the area with me for a bit, but they didn't find the car. Eventually they told me I could go home, but to call back if anything else happened. I drove home carefully, checking mirrors the whole way. When I got there, everything looked normal. House dark, streets lights on, a few cars parked like always. I went inside and locked the doors and stood there for a moment, longer than usual, just listening. Nothing. I went to bed eventually, but I didn't sleep well. Every time a car passed outside, I woke up. Around 3 a.m, I heard something outside. Not loud, just a sound that didn't belong. I stayed listening. Then I heard footsteps on the gravel at the side of my house. Slow, deliberate. I didn't move, I didn't turn on the light. I heard someone walk past the back window, then stop. Then a soft scrape, like someone brushing against the wall or a fence. I unlocked my phone and dialed 911 again. I whispered this time. The operator asked if I could see anyone. I said no, but they were right outside. As I was talking, the footsteps moved towards the back door. I heard the handle move. Just once, not forced, just tested. Then headlights flashed across my living room wall. A car had turned onto my street. The footsteps stopped immediately. I heard someone move quickly away from the door, then nothing. Police arrived again, this time faster. They searched the yard, the streets, the neighbouring driveways, but they didn't find anyone. One officer asked if I'd recently had people over, or if anyone might think the house was empty. That question stuck with me. He explained that New Year's is a popular night for people checking houses, not breaking in right away, just identifying opportunities. It was New Year's Eve, and I invited a few mates over to my place to see the night in. Nothing big, just drinks, music, and hanging around until midnight. I went out to get snacks because we'd underestimated how long the night was going to be. That's really all it was. A few people around my place, Nothing wild, just drinks, music on low, talking. Someone finished the last bag of chips. Someone else mentioned wanting something sweet, and suddenly everyone was looking at me like I'd volunteered. I didn't mind. It gave me an excuse to step out for a bit. It was New Year's Eve, but not late yet. Around 10, maybe a little after. The local shop was only a 5-minute drive, and it was one I'd been to 100 times. Bright, busy, and familiar. I grabbed my keys, threw on a jacket, and headed out. The store was exactly what you'd expect on New Year's Eve. Busy without being chaotic. People buying drinks, snacks, party stuff. Music playing a little louder than usual. A line at the register, but nothing terrible. I picked up chips, some chocolate, a couple of extra bottles of soda. I was in and out pretty quick. Nothing strange happened inside. Not really. The only thing I noticed, and I wouldn't have thought about it again if everything else hadn't have followed, was a guy standing near the drinks fridge when I was checking out. He wasn't doing anything wrong, just standing there, hands in his pockets, looking towards the front of the store. No basket, no items. I remember thinking he looked like he was waiting for someone. I paid, nodded at the cashier, and left. Outside, the parking lot was still busy. Cars pulling in and out, people laughing, someone setting off an early firework somewhere nearby. I walked to my car and started loading the bags into the passenger seat. That's when I noticed the same guy walk out of the store. Again, nothing wrong with that. People leave stores. He walked to a car a few spaces down from mine and stood there for a moment, like he was checking his phone or waiting for something. I got in my car, started it, and pulled out. As I drove towards the exit of the lot, I saw a car pull out behind me. I didn't think anything of it at first. Same direction doesn't mean anything. We drove down the main road together for a bit, then I turned right. A second later, his car turned right too. Still not strange, lots of people live in the same area. At the next set of lights, I turned left. So did he. That's when I noticed. Not panicked, just aware. I checked my mirror properly this time. Same car, same distance. Not riding my bumper, not hanging back. Just there. I told myself not to be dramatic. There were only so many ways to get out of that area. I made another turn that wasn't my usual route home. He followed. I remember thinking, okay, that's annoying, but not necessarily threatening. Maybe he lived nearby too. Maybe we were just unlucky. When I turned onto my street, I felt a small knot form in my stomach. It's a quiet residential road. You don't accidentally end up there unless you live there or are visiting someone. He turned onto it too. I pulled into my driveway and shut the engine off immediately. His car slowed as it passed my house. For a second I thought he was going to pull in somewhere else on the street. Instead he kept going, rolled past my place, and parked a few houses down. I sat there, key still in my hand, watching through my windshield. He didn't get out right away. After maybe 30 seconds, his interior lights flicked on, then off. Then he got out and walked down the street, not towards my house, past it. I told myself I was being ridiculous. I grabbed the bags and went inside, locking the door behind me like I always did. Inside, everything was normal. People laughing, music on. Someone asked if I got the right chips. I didn't mention anything. It didn't feel like enough to bring up. The night carried on. We watched the countdown. We drank till midnight, came and went, with shouting and hugs and noise like it always does. By 1 or so, people started leaving. Eventually it was just me. I cleaned up a little, turned the lights off downstairs and went to bed. I was tired enough that I fell asleep quickly. What woke me up was the sound I couldn't immediately place. Not sharp, not loud, just wrong. I lay there for a few seconds, trying to work out if I dreamt it. Then I heard it again, footsteps, outside. Slow and careful. I sat up in bed immediately, heart pounding. My first thought was that someone must have stayed over and forgotten to tell me. But that didn't make sense. I'd seen everyone leave. I listened. More steps, then another. Like someone trying not to be heard. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. 2:17 a.m. I stayed still, barely breathing, listening. Then there was a soft tapping sound. Downstairs on the glass. I felt cold all over. The tapping came again. 3 light taps, then stopped. I didn't move, I didn't call out. I didn't turn on any lights. My mind was racing through explanations. Wind, a tree branch, someone drunk at the wrong house. Then I heard something that erased all of those. A door handle. The back door. I heard it turn slightly, then stop, like someone testing it. I unlocked my phone and dialed 911. The operator answered quickly. I told her I thought someone was trying to get into my house. She asked where I was, asked if I could see anyone. I told her no, but I could hear them. As I was talking, the footsteps started again, faster now, moving from the back of the house towards the front. Then the tapping again, this time on the front window, harder. The operator told me officers were on their way and to stay on the line. I heard a sharp metallic sound near the front door, like something scraping against the lock. I locked my bedroom door quietly, backed into the corner of the room. Then suddenly everything stopped. No footsteps, no tapping. Silence. A minute later, headlights washed across my bedroom wall. Then I heard car doors slam, and voices. The police announced themselves. They searched the house, the yard, and the street, but they didn't find anyone. One of them asked if I'd seen a suspicious vehicle earlier. I told him about the car from the shop. He nodded like that wasn't surprising. He said there had been a few reports that night. People being followed home from stores, someone trying doors, nothing taken and no forced entry. New Year's is a good time for that, he said. People are distracted. After that, I didn't get any sleep again. The next morning I noticed faint scuff marks near my back door, like someone had stood there for a while. That could mean nothing, or it could mean I wasn't imagining it. I don't know if it was the same person from the shop. I don't know if they followed me deliberately or just took advantage of the timing. But I don't go out late on New Year's anymore unless I really have to. And if I do, I don't go straight home, because the worst part isn't knowing someone tried to break in, it's knowing how easily it almost worked.